Good evening, everyone. It's Metal Mike with Radio Oz. Welcome to the show this week. This week we have Weapons of God out of the Dayton, Ohio area. A thrash metal band with a little side of other metal too, but I look at them as thrash metal myself, but that's me. Classic thrash metal sound with a little bit of modern twist. So, anyways, I'll let everybody introduce themselves and tell them a little bit about themselves and what they do with the band. I guess we'll start where whoever wants to start can start. I'm not going to point fingers. So whoever wants to talk. Floor is yours for a moment.
Go ahead, Leon.
My name's Leon Black. I play guitar and do some singing.
All right.
It's kind of my gig.
I do some drumming.
Just some drumming.
Just some drumming.
What was the name? You got to tell us your name. You didn't tell us your name.
Oh, did that get cut off? Jason Harmon.
All right.
Ed Gerard, bass guitar, backing vocals.
All right.
Steve McGowan, vocals, guitars.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, gentlemen and young lady, Rochelle.
Hi.
Wife extraordinaire and manager extraordinaire, what I hear, but
No,
A little bit of everything.
yep.
he said wife.
No.
I mean,
She is
You'd
a
have to
wife,
ask
just
her
not
husband.
that guy.
But you knew that. Did we not talk about that 2 years ago?
We got that far, I think, maybe. Hard to believe it's been that long ago.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, anyways, so you guys just released a new album a couple months ago. Franken new album. Tell us a little about that album and the influences, what led to that album, and then you got a new song coming, but it's not from that album. So we'll go ahead and talk about that as well.
Anyone?
It was actually released in July of 2025, and I
You
think
said that long ago?
Yeah.
This year's passing by. I'm getting old.
It's just that fresh. It just seems like it was just a couple months.
yeah, we this is our first venture with Jason behind the kit, and his influences on the album, I think, with some of his writing and the way he cranks out songs, and it kind of all just fell together and worked.
So lyrically, what was some of the influence with some of the basic influence of some of the songs?
I mean, it's all metal.
It's all metal. I like it.
Yeah.
It's all metal.
I don't get caught up in the genres and stuff. It just, I don't know. I don't like to be pigeonholed. I feel we'll play whatever we write.
Right.
What
That's
do
what I'm
you
saying.
call
There's a
Rock and
variety
roll
there.
or heavy metal or thrash metal or life metal or whatever you want to call it.
Right. I get that. I mean, that's like when you start getting the longer subgenres, you're like, what? Huh? What? Who named that? I mean,
Wasn't a musician, I assure you.
what's that?
I said it wasn't a musician that named it. I'm sure you.
Right. Sure. Right.
A listener, not a player.
A listener that's not even a musician, probably. I'm not a musician, but I could go around. Like I said, the generic terms that we all grew up on: thrash, speed, heavy metal, glam metal. You know, that the core 4 or 5 there. Now it's 25, 30, and you're like, what?
Right.
So I was listening to some earlier albums today while I was driving around for work, and I mean, I noticed some classic metal influence in a lot of songs. I mean, I heard some Exodus, I heard some Testament, I heard some Slayer.
Interesting.
You know,
Really?
Yeah. What's that?
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
so
it's cool.
but and even seeing you live, that's, I mean, we've talked about that when I first met you guys and saw you. I can't remember the song that Leon sung, but it sure sounded like Tom Mariah up there singing.
I've heard that one before. I hear a few. I've heard some different things recently. So, you know, I'm influenced by everything. I think everything I hear You know, not just the metal genre, but I listen to all kinds of other stuff as well. So, and I think there's probably a little bit of influence that trickles out on just about anything.
Yeah, I can understand that. And looking at your Facebook feed, I mean, me and you have a lot in common with
Yeah,
what we
Yeah.
listen to.
I see that too.
So and going back, I mean, and looking at those early influences, I mean, of the '80s and early '90s influences there. I mean, I see that in all the way across the board with you gentlemen. No matter what instrument you're playing, or if Steve's singing or Leon's singing, there's those influences that, like you say, trickle out.
Yeah.
And that to me, I mean, the Christian scene was always about copycats. It was always. You were, and then you got pigeonholed. Going back to the word pigeonholed, you were pigeonholed. Oh, you sounded like. I mean, early Tourniquet, King Diamond, when Guy Ritter was in the band. But then you go back and then you listen to Vengeance Rising and early Living Sacrifice, and it was Slayer, you know, and Venom and some Venom and stuff like that. Which, I mean, that's stuff that we all grew up on.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to influence even when we listen to modern stuff and we're like, this is where we want to sound like, but then you sneak back into that '80s realm, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, I think a lot of that back in the day, was you really didn't have anything else to compare it to. You know, you had your whatever people heard on the radio or whatever they were seeing on, Headbangers Ball or videos or, whatever they were watching videos. So when people would ask, well, what does that band sound like? Well, you had to give them something, because it wasn't like, oh, check this link, because there was no links back then.
Right. Well, I mean,
like cruise by the house and I'll hand you a cassette.
Yeah, and that's what I did. That's what's influenced Radio Oz through the last 30, almost 40 years. I made mixtapes in the '80s where I mixed the Christian and the secular, and I still do that to this day with playlists as my outreach. People call it my ministry, whatever. But that's the way I reached people. It's like going into the club or going in. You're not going to reach our demographic per se in the actual church.
Right.
And that's one thing I've always prided myself in, able to say, here, check out this band. They sound like who you're listening to, but I don't necessarily tell them it's a Christian band either. But if they listen to it and they get into the lyrics and delve deep, they find the word.
Yep.
Got to give them Jesus. That's straight up, blunt, to the point. But then you got a song like War, the war theme that'll grab somebody's attention as something, and then they dig deeper. What kind of war are we talking about? Well, it's a spiritual warfare.
Yeah, that's like about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, we played at this club down in Erlanger, Kentucky, and actually, that was during the start of coronavirus. That was back in March of 2020. And we were supposed to open up for, I don't know if you remember the band Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah.
And Pretty Boy Floyd, they bowed out because of the pandemic happening. So, but we continued to went ahead and played along with a couple other bands that night. And it was a secular venue. And, we went in there and we did our thing. And at the end of the night, there was this girl who came up to us, and she got it, and because she was raised in a Christian home, and when she heard the last song, especially the last song, we always try to end the night with the song "Weapons of God," and she got it. She heard the lyrics, and she knew what it was about, and she was going through some stuff at the time, and so we got with her, and we prayed over her, and it was a good night that night. So, I mean, there's places we have played. I would honestly, I welcome it. I mean, I would love for us to play more secular stuff with secular bands, because you're playing you play in Christian fests and everything else. I mean, you're kind of preaching to the choir as it is already.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying, sure, I'm sure there's somebody going to be there that's probably never been to a Christian fest. I mean, take Immortal Fest. I mean, I know there's quite a few people that was there that's probably never been to a Christian fest and got saved that weekend. So, to me, it's always very welcoming. I would prefer us to play in those kind of environments with all the secular bands, the secular shows, and going in there as a Trojan horse, I guess you could kind of say, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, if you're a true Christian artist or musician, they want to look at you as a minister, but you don't have to minister with the Bible out front every show, especially in a secular venue. You'll be booed off the stage, and and it'll all be for none.
And I think it is too. There some of the secular venues are afraid of that because they think we're going to come in there and we're going to preach to you. We're going to probably hurt their alcohol sales or whatever. And it's like, no, we just want to rock with you. We just want to go in there and let's just have a good time. We're not out to offend. We're not out to judge anyone. We just want to come out and just rock with y'all. And there's a message there, and the message will be served during the show. And like I said, there's been a few shows that we have done like that where we have talked to people, and there's been a show where we've had one guy screaming and hissing out of there because he didn't like what we were doing. So.
I mean, you're going to have, especially if in that regard, regardless even if you were a secular band, there's always that one person that's looking at you like, no, and then you're thinking, why are you here then? so
Here
what
for
are
the headliner?
What's that?
Said I'm here for the headliner.
Yeah, but I've seen band. I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago, the show I went to last week, and we were talking about that. How anymore, especially with older bands, some of them don't need to be touring, and the openers will just blow them completely off the stage, and you're like, why? I mean, you found a new band, but then your old band that you worshipped or was your favorite or one of your favorites, and you go see them, and it's like you're let down. Like, I paid this much for what?
Yeah, I've been there.
So, I mean, we see videos now with technology. You see videos popping all the time of how this band looked horrible when you saw them, or somebody without a tune, or the singer couldn't sing a lick. They were singing the tracks more so than singing live.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, just having played live music for quite a while, you'll have moments where you're just off. And not saying that that's the case in what you brought up, but you do have those off moments, and hopefully it's just limited to like a single part and a single song, and the rest of the show goes great. But yeah, if there's a general degradation in quality, that definitely says something.
All right, well, we went off on a big tangent there, but all right. So back to influences. Who are each one of your influences to get where you create? Leon was saying he listens to a variety of music to bring his all together. If you had to pick 4 or 5 bands that are your melting pot that you throw together, it's like, hey, this is me. This is what I bring to the table. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely Kiss, Pantera, Black Label Society, and Iron Maiden. That's where my influence started. So, I mean, I'm sure you could probably hear, if you listen, the influences are there. So, that's where it is for me.
I'm looking forward to seeing Maiden in September and Louder Than Life for the first time. It's a bucket list for me to finally finish out.
Yeah, they were last time I
Nice.
saw them just a couple of years ago. They were really, really good.
And that's
So-
another one I haven't heard any bad things about their live show. So
Yeah, that was the first time I saw them as well. So, and that was, I guess, it's been about 3 years ago. It was a worthwhile trip for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think my influences are it's a little different. I think I spent a lot of time when I was younger watching Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. So that was kind of an interest that made me want to play guitar. But musically, I don't think there's probably some influence there, I guess. But you don't really write like that. I tend to think of early Christian metal bands that I was able to listen to because I was very young. My father was an evangelist and was raised in church, and while my older brother could get away with listening to like Thin Lizzy and Judas Priest and Maiden and probably AC/DC and a few others, my father didn't really let me bring music into the house in that same way. So when I discovered, like the first Bloodgood record, the first Barren Cross album, Rock for the King, Messiah Prophet Band back in the day, that was like the first music that I was able to like grab for myself and bring home. And then my father would comment on the type of music because it wasn't really his thing. He's a traditional, gospel bluegrass fan, and I'd break out the lyric sheets and read him some lyrics, and he kind of learned to let it go and let me have my listening. But yeah, from the early on, it was the harder stuff. The more I was drawn to it. So when thrash metal started popping, or when I started experimenting with some hardcore bands, stuff like that, he was way turned off. The family was like, how can you listen to that noise? Even my brother was like, what are they saying? How can you understand anything they're saying? And it was just like, give me, and I still break out some stuff on these guys every now and then. That's pretty chaotic, but I'm drawn to that kind of stuff. The noise, the weird timings, it's, I find it intriguing, I guess, when I listen to it. And yeah, I'm sure there's some influence on that as well.
let's see all that.
When you don't know how to count to 4, it makes it even harder to write. So, have to take somebody else's shoes off to count to 4.
And like I said, I'm not a musician, but I love me some music, and everything you just mentioned there. Even talking about the early stuff you were listening to, you could still see going back to what your brother was listening to, and you had a Christian alternative to what he was listening to.
Yeah.
As time went on, anyways.
Yeah.
With those same bands, because I mean that's what got me into it. I mean, I had a youth counselor at camp in the summer of '87 give me a mixtape called Righteous Metal, and had all those bands on it. And from there, I was off to the races.
Yep.
All right, what's some of the other influence from you guys?
As far as me, I come from the old school. I like rock, hard rock, heavy rock. I mean, I love the classic British metal. Iron Maiden, is my favorite band. Steve Harris is my main bass mentor, influence. But I also have a liking for some of the progressive stuff too. Like, I mean, some of Rush's stuff. Yes. Dream Theater. Some of their stuff is really, really complex and chaotic. Now let me see. Yeah. We've just got a plethora of influences in this band, and it's really nice because and it's like Leon said, we're not just locked into one thing. I mean, everybody's got a wide variety of flavors to bring to the soup, if you will.
Right,
So
right.
it's really cool. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
don't forget your love for classical music too.
oh, that's right. Duh, silly me. Yeah, I'm a big classical guy. I mean, Paganini, come on. Mozart, Bach. Bach is one of my main guys. He's
It
this,
would still be here if it wasn't good.
yeah. I mean, come on. That music is just timeless.
Yeah.
It'll be with us forever. So
That's what I'm saying, and I mean, I've talked to people about this before, and that's heavy metal before it was heavy metal. You know, I mean,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
it didn't have a guitar, and it had some drums, but
I mean, if you
horns,
listen to some of Beethoven stuff, he's a mosher.
Yeah.
I mean, some Beethoven stuff it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal.
and
So-
the timing, the speed, and
No,
it's
yeah.
all there.
I mean, one
so
night.
nobody thinks about. It's go back and break it down. It's the same thing we're discussing. That's I mean,
And
not
you know,
a
it's
great
like
thing. Go ahead.
it's like I was just saying. You know, one of the things that's so awesome about this band is just like I said, the variety of influences that come to the table. I mean, when the writing process, I mean, you can be sure that wow, there's going to be a lot of ideas floating around and a lot of different riffs. It's pretty cool. And with Jason, this guy, he's a writing machine. Hey, check this guys out. Check this out. Check this out. I'm not done with it, but hey, what do you think? What do you think? I mean, basically my point is there's no shortage of material, which is a really cool thing. We will never ever lack for material. No joke.
Yeah.
So
It's a good way
Okay.
to put it.
So what's your influences then? Everybody's talking about theirs being that, but they say you're just unreal.
Well, I mean, if you want to say that I'm a songwriting machine, that's great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that any of it's good.
he's very
It's just-
modest too.
I've there have been a couple, like behind the scenes moments where I'm like, here you go, guys, this thing's finished. I'm not really happy with where it is right now, but I've got to get it out of my backlog. So enjoy it or not. My influences tend to lean a little more progressive, just because when I picked up the guitar, especially, but also starting off playing drums, I really like to be able to, or I liked music or was drawn to music that I couldn't play along with as I listened to it the very first time. That's not to say that type of music doesn't have any appeal to me, because it certainly does. But it really piques my interest if I need to actually sit down and figure out what the artists are doing. So for me, Dream Theater, Tool, Rush, and I'd say if we're limiting it to 4, probably Chevelle maybe. But I remember the first time I listened to Mechanical Resonance by Tesla, I was just blown away with just how raw and amazing it was. And I mean, even to this day, that's still one of the ones, or one of the albums that's a go-to for me. So my musical exposure isn't nearly as encyclopedic as Leon's is, but yeah, I like the tend towards the harder stuff that's a lot harder to actually play. So,
But technical all in the same time.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love the technical aspects of it, but I can hear something in passing that's just a piano piece, or maybe even bluegrass, or heaven forbid country. Sorry. And be able to pick something out of it to say, well, I really like the feel of what they were doing. So, yeah, I appreciate all genres really.
But you're talking about the Tesla. They are probably one of the I mean, you can't put them in the '80s category, but people do. But they've been putting out albums consistently forever, you know.
Yeah.
So and they're still underrated to this day.
Oh yeah.
So I get that one. All right, Steve.
What?
Your influences. Did you mention
All
your
right.
influences?
I already gave you mine.
Okay, I couldn't see you. Sorry. I'm using my phone, so I've got little bitty pictures. So, yeah. All right. So let's go real quick. We'll go back around. But I did bring up the new song, a Striper cover. That when Rock said they were releasing the 40th anniversary Striper tribute album, after already having two tribute albums, and the variety that he's thrown on there, and you've got Rock in the World, is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you get to pick the song, or did he pick the song for you guys?
He sent me a list of songs, and we knew who was doing what already, and that's what we ended up with.
Cool. So we get to hear that this coming Friday, which I can't wait to hear, because Striper was my first concert in 1988. So
Yeah, it's truly an honor to got picked to do something like this. I mean, Leon and I, we talked about this, and like Leon said too, before, if you would have told us 40 years ago, hey, you're going to be doing a Striper tribute song through a record company, and be like, yeah, all right, whatever. So
Yeah, very cool.
It's
Yeah,
very cool.
Those first two, in particular, first two Striper records, and really first three or four, I guess. That was some of the. To me, it was different. Striper didn't really. I mean, people hear that you get the Styx comparison, I guess, with Striper early on, but to me, they really didn't. They didn't really sound like all the other bands that were out there. Vocals were a little more, operatic, or whatever you want to call it. The songwriting, the strong structures were a little, they had some simple song structure as well, but they also had some that went out on a limb a little bit. And I was a big fan back then. I don't think it wouldn't have been my first concert, but it was one of my first probably bigger concerts that I saw when I saw them. And I still have unfinished business with Striper. So I met them a couple times back in the day on the Soldiers tour, and also on the To Hell with the Devil tour. And I had painted their portraits on a jean jacket, and tried 2 different times to get all the signatures on that jacket. And Michael Sweet stood us up both times.
that's
And then, so his spot is blank still. I considered forging it, but I thought maybe one day, there'll be an opportunity. And then when I joined this band, actually early on, Steve and Rochelle were going to see Striper. And I actually brought the jacket and gave it to Steve. He had a VIP pass, and I said, you got to get Michael Sweet to sign this jacket. And turned out that somebody ended up sick during that show or something. They ended up canceling that show.
Yeah,
So that would have been the third time I missed. So maybe we'll get this song out and this record comes out and everything, I'll be able to reach out and say, hey, I was on this album, covered one of your songs. You think you can sign my jacket from 1987?
Well, my story, I've met luckily. I mean, they were my band when I was 15. Back on the 30th anniversary tour for To Hell with the Devil 10 years ago. It's hard to believe that the album was 40, but I went before the show and hung out before the show, and luckily met all 4 original members at that show. I've got on my wall right in front of me in what I call my loftus. It's my laundry room / office. I've got a desk where I'm sitting at, and I've got drumsticks, drum heads, posters. I've got my To Hell with the Devil CD signed. the guitar pick from Tim and Oz both, and then the poster for the show, all autographed. And that was just I was on cloud 25 when I left that night. And then first time I met Michael though was in 1994 or 5 on his first solo tour. I was working at a concert in Indianapolis as security for his show. And so I was there early to help out and get whatever they needed help with. And so I was in the green room, and his manager comes up and says, "Don't talk to Michael. Don't talk to Michael." Okay, I won't. Next thing I know, here comes Michael, sits right down with us. So that I've always had no problem with any of the guys. Radio Oz, the Oz part does come from Oz Fox indirectly, because I've used his writing when he writes music. It's under Sir Oz Music, and I was back in From Hell with the Devil with The Way, the song he wrote on that album. That's where I got it from, was Sir Oz Music. I'm like, cool, this is cool. Let me use this as a moniker, plus the Metal Mike moniker between whoever I was talking with. And it just carried on for forever.
Yeah.
And my Metal Mike came around in 1988 from a Bride song. So moving forward, so we got an album in July. You said you got a lot of music that you're all pre-production or working on, and so we're looking at an album this year, next year,
When it's ready.
when it's ready. I mean, there was decent little gaps between the first three.
Well, we've got a couple live full shows from Immortal Fest 24 and 25, and I've kind of thrown around the idea with these guys about, hey, what do you think about cleaning these up and maybe doing some with these and maybe release a double live disc 24, 25, or I don't know, maybe release one maybe live CD of one of those shows. I don't know. I've been throwing it out there, but we haven't really talked about it a whole lot. So, but it's out there. But
I mean, there's been what, 4 or 5 of the bands that have played Immortal Fest and released their live shows on DVD. Yeah. So, and it's not been bad quality from the company that was shooting it for them up there. So,
not at all.
No, it turned out really well. The Double Barrel Medicine, the video, a lot of that footage there was shot all at Immortal Fest. Some shot by us, and some shot by the group that was there. The name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah,
I got it on my other computer, but it was very cool to have, and it was very cool of them to share that with us as well. So,
I mean, I didn't get to go. I've dreamed of going to Immortal Fest, but that's a 4.5 plus hour drive from here, and I'd be the only one going. So it's kind of hard to do that. Think about that.
Where are you at, Mike?
I'm in Louisville,
okay.
Kentucky. So
come up. You can come up and hang with us. We could all go. Make a field trip out of it.
Make a field trip. So then this weekend it's in Frankfort. The show for Kentucky, Resurrection Fest Kentucky, is an hour from here, hour and 5 minutes from my apartment. So,
okay.
And I'll be, like I said, driving up by myself, but I gotta get some car work done before I head that way on Saturday. So hopefully my brother's shop can get it done pretty quick. So.
Well, if they don't let me know, I'll swing by and pick you up.
Sounds like a plan. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I've met most of the bands that are on the bill over the last few years, and I appreciate all the support they've all given me, and even you guys. So moving forward, let's see. We've talked about your influences. We've talked about music. So what do you do for your day jobs besides music?
I guess I'll go first on that one. I've for the last year have been kind of semi-retired.
Retired?
Get a job, you hippie.
Yeah,
Get a
Yeah, these guys
job,
always-
you lazy bum.
these guys always give me crap. Get a job. But yeah, I mean, in my, I'm still looking to do, hop back in and do some consulting here and there. But, I just kind of reached that point in my career where, God's blessed my family enough to the point where I can just have a little bit more freedom in my choices as to whether or not to work and which opportunities I'll take and which ones I can turn down. But in my former life, I was kind of a tech geek. So network engineer, Microsoft architect, moved more into like pure project and program management, but still remained in the technology area. So that was who I still am, but what I used to do for my day job. Now it's pretty much whatever my wife says I need to do.
Hey, that's why you got some money. You making those $100 repair jobs. Somebody calling you saying, "Hey."
Yeah, cost avoidance.
I where I work at, I work in storage, and I'm in a warehouse, big warehouse, 6 stories tall. And I looked at the bill from them to come out and just to look at the elevator. It was $300 for an hour. I was like, I know the tech don't get that much, but still.
Yeah, I can look at an elevator and say with no charge, I don't want to get in it.
Yeah, I get that all the time. People don't want to get in our elevators. I'm like, okay. All right. So, anyways, moving on to next.
I drive a rig.
There you go.
Okay. Are you local or?
Most of the time I'm home every night, but I mean, sometimes I pull an overnighter. Like tomorrow, I get the privilege of going to Pageland, South Carolina. That's going to be fun. But the weather's supposed to be halfway decent, so go down there to the Walmart distribution, offload, grab a backhaul, and then head on back. So
There are drivers everywhere.
yeah,
And everywhere I
That's
look,
something to get-
either Amazon, Walmart. It never fails.
I was hoping to get something local tomorrow, but we need you to run this. I'm like, okay.
So that's a 2-day drive then, ain't it?
Oh no, it's like 8 or 9 hours, I think.
Oh,
Down there. It's not that bad. I mean, so yeah, I just I've been doing it for like 14 years, and yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's a blessing to have a job, but I'd like to
Exactly.
retire and do something, just hang around the house more.
Come hang out with me, Ed.
There you go. We'll write songs. There you go, buddy.
Leon just went up in the sky.
Huh?
Leon just disappeared into the sky.
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh no. Is it
He
that
vanished.
Raptured.
time?
He
We got
raptured.
left behind. Oh no.
See, Leon's day job is like super secret, clandestine government work. That's why he bailed when you asked that question.
He could tell us, but they didn't have to kill us.
Well, we don't need that.
No, we don't. I'm addicted to breathing.
Hey, at least you're addicted. I mean, at least it's something that's good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes depends on what kind of air it is.
Well, I'll put it this way. I've told people that I've never been drunk in my life, and they looked at me like, yeah, right. And I'm like, no, seriously. I never had the desire for it.
Same here. I've had.
Never smoked pot either.
Yeah, I've never did any kind of drug except for a prescription, and then drinking wise, I've maybe had 4 drinks in my entire life, and people are looking at me like, "What?"
You
Were they all
alky,
at
you.
once? Were they all at once, or did you space them out?
They were all well. It was me and my wife separated, and as part of our trying to work things out at the time, she wanted me to try a few different things. Thank God to this day though, she's not gave up drinking, but she don't drink as much. She used to be drink a lot of bourbon and Diet Coke and
Oh.
Bill Lager, and then now it's a frou drink. Every once in a while, I want to go out to eat. And that's it.
Wow. I stepped away and this conversation took an interesting turn.
Well, we were talking about how you work for the government, so you can talk about it.
Yeah, we filled in your career opportunities while you were out.
Sweet. Glad somebody
Said
knows
your
what to
job
do.
is high profile.
You think? I'm not that Leon Black. That's a different guy.
That's my twin brother. It's my evil twin.
Leon Black Ops.
Not even close.
Leon Black Ops. That's funny.
So what
Thought
do
maybe
you do, Leon?
Somebody's day
for your
job
day
was
job?
drinking because you were talking about drinking. So I thought maybe that was Steve's day job or something.
He was asking what everybody's job was.
Yeah, I was here for the beginning of it, but when I came back, you were talking about drinking bourbon
We're
and
partying without you. It's all right.
Because that's what Steve said his day job was, day drinking.
So yeah, my day job for many years has been in transportation, logistics, hazardous materials transportation in particular was my area of expertise. And it's been about 3 years now. Still work for the same company, but promoted a guy that worked for me into my position and got moved and over local IT support. Process networking and project management is kind of what I do now. So basically whatever my boss says, hey, I need you to take care of this, that's kind of what I go do on a day-to-day basis. So it's nice, but it's a little different, being in transportation and shipping. Everything is on a clock, things have to go, they have to move when they need to move, and they need to be delivered on time. And now I'm kind of adjusting to like I said, more project work than deadlines. Some things have deadlines, but not nearly the kind of strict deadlines that come on customer requirements. So all my customers are internal technically now. So you'll get it when I get done.
It's kind of like the next album. Like,
yeah, right.
Musicians, we're on our own time.
That's kind of my philosophy.
Well, at least it's not like the old days where they wanted an album every year, tour between, and you'd like, how do they do it? Going back to the alcohol thing, though, what you're talking about, my work is in like I said, I'm in storage, so self-storage. My warehouse is it's 90 years old, built right after Prohibition for Seagram's distilleries. So it was full of barrels of all different spirits.
We used to sell product to Seagram's.
But that's just something interesting about my work every day. But everybody thinks when I work in self-storage, I just sit at my desk all day, and I deal with a little bit of everything. I mean, we joke what our job descriptions are, and my coworkers beat me by one thing, and that's what we call his job was a coroner. He found a guy OD'd in the unit in his first month employed with the company, 6 years ago.
Wow.
So we do see that. We see. I mean, we get into units after they've not sold at auction and clean them out, and you're finding every kind of paraphernalia you can think of. And then the city the city jurisdiction we're in that tells us, oh, just throw it in your dumpster. Like, I got dumpster divers. I'm just going to feed a habit. I'm not going to do that. It's kind of hard. So anyways, so you signed the Resurrection Records. So that is just what Aaron does with you guys is just helps you get your name out there. Is that basically what the label is? Because your record label actually rocks, correct? So Aaron's just like a promotion company for you guys.
So Rocks is our distribution.
Right.
And Aaron, I guess it's promotion, but It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a little weird when y'all got signed. I was like, "What they wrong rocks?" And then it's like, "Okay, how's this working?" And then, like I said, I know he helps promote stuff. And Aaron's a very nice guy. He was actually my first interview last year, trying to get rock when he was getting Resurrection flowing. So,
Well, I mean, since we've been with Resurrection Records, they've been able to do things that we wasn't able to do. Get us on some radio stations out there, and actually, I think for the first time this year off this CD, we finally made it on the Christian Music Weekly charts for the first time with Death of Me charting as high as number 18 in the rock charts. And right now, Double Barrel Medicine is somewhere in the top 50. I don't know where, but they've helped push the CD for us more than what we were able to do before in the past. So
have they? I know. I mean, I know of other Christian artists that are not on Resurrection, but do they help get you out to the secular market, or is there any of that, or do you have to do that on your own and find another avenue?
They do. I'm not sure how many radio stations, but I know that they're sending everything out, and she's doing this every day. And then I do on our end of it. So they haven't done any booking for us per se, but like the Resurrection Fest, but we're still doing our own. So it's kind of like this mutual.
Having somebody to help you, basically, then you have to do all the work.
Right.
The footwork.
Like before as a manager, my email meant nothing to a radio station. So the fact that they're doing and sending and resending and keeping in contact, and they have that Resurrection label, now it means something. That's the difference.
That's a shame, honestly. I mean, nothing against Resurrection. That especially with the way music is today, it's already you're fighting tooth and nail to even get saw or heard, regardless of who you are, without that kind of footwork. You know, I mean, I blow up my pages all day long and hope and pray I get 50 viewers. So I can only imagine for a band wanting to get a song heard 100 plays on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, or wherever, how hard that is to get that out there and then survive off that. You know, you're not going to survive off the pay off the music, but getting your name out there for everybody to say, "Hey, let's go out and check out Weapons of God." We heard their name somewhere online. You know, it's not like you turn on the radio and hear it, the regular radio,
right.
the FM dial like we used to, like we were talking earlier. You'd have a radio station where they would play metal or harder rock than what's on there. But now you got corporate radios controlling it all. I jokingly tell people, payola might be dead, but how are these people getting their music on the air without a little something under the table?
Paul Greason.
The sad thing is, though, a lot of the internet radio stations, the independent ones, will not use the ISRC codes. So they're playing different bands' music, but nobody is getting credit for it.
Yeah. I get people messaging me all the time saying, "Hey, join our internet radio station." Well, I'm like, okay, so what do I got to do? Well, you got to pay this much down to be a part of the program. Then you can only do an hour or two. Well, an hour or two is 35 songs if you're lucky. And and then you got to consciously think, okay, what can I do that's different than the first person? The person before that. You know, it's like, and then so I'm like, I'll do a playlist, share it to my 5,000 followers, and hope and pray I get you at least five people to play it. But I can't guarantee that out of 5,000 people, I don't know how many people are going to listen to that. And
That's not really anything different, though. It's been, I mean, especially like coming from a band, like my first band I was ever in seriously, wrote and played original music. We pretty much started out that way. We might have learned a couple covers to start off, but then we immediately started writing. And at least in the area where we were looking, it was really, really hard to get gigs. If you didn't play covers, nobody wanted you there. So we were lucky enough that we rehearsed in a studio where there was a bunch of other bands around us that befriended us, and a lot of those bands were cover bands. So they liked our stuff and they would drag us along with them. So we would open up for these cover bands and these bar gigs and stuff. And that was difficult sometimes to do, just because you'd get a few people that would be interested, I guess, in your music, and you try to run shows on your own, or with other original artists. And like the bar scene and some of the club scene and stuff, at least when I was coming up, they're not interested in promoting your music. They're interested in how many butts you can put on their seats and fill their glasses over and over all night long, or sell food. They don't really care about the music. They just care about somebody that can bring in a big crowd. And it's hard to do that when you have no means of exposure as an original artist, writing your own music. So that hasn't really changed, I don't think, to this day, as far as local clubs and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's actually gotten even worse now. I mean, if you're not in a tribute band, they don't really want much to do with you. It's like it's all about tribute bands in these venues and bars and places, and it's like it's ridiculous. It's like get your own legend. Get your own. Write your own songs. Quit trying to live off somebody else's fame. It's sad, but I get it, because people are familiar with the music. They're familiar with the bands and the look and everything else.
Well, the aesthetic there is it sells too.
Yeah.
I've only went and seen. I'm not a big fan. Tribute bands remind me of karaoke. I'm not a big fan of karaoke, so that carries over to tribute bands. And I've only seen 2 tribute bands to me that were worth going to see because they had some sort of endorsement from the original band. So it made me feel like, okay, there's a little bit more special here than some other band that's just 4 or 5 guys playing the hits.
Right.
I've went and seen. I don't know. We were talking about Iron Maiden earlier. Have you all seen the Iron Maidens?
Nah.
Heard of them, but never seen them.
They've had Nita Strauss.
I've heard they're actually pretty good too.
Out of there. Anyway, but they it's all female Iron Maiden tribute band, and they had a big Eddie come out. All this going on. What's that?
There was a female Eddie. It wasn't actually. Yeah, it is. It's actually a female Eddie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call her, but
Edwina.
I've heard that band is actually pretty good. I've never heard them, but
They
heard good things.
really good.
Heard good things about them.
Yeah.
They're really tight.
Yeah, and then I seen Brent Floyd, which
Never
is
seen Maiden.
Yeah, well, when you never thought you'd get the chance to, you take chances sometimes. Yeah. But
I can't see paying money to go see somebody pretend they're somebody else.
That's true. That's true. I get that. I won tickets to see them when I went and seen them.
I'm not knocking it. More power to them. If that's what you love doing and you're doing what you love, then more power to you. But it's just not really my gig.
Yeah. And then I went and seen Brent Floyd, which is a Pink Floyd tribute band, which is actually managed by the guitar player from Holy Soldier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard of them as well.
Yeah, I went and seen them with the Louisville Palaces, which is the pristine venue here in Louisville. It's like an old theater that's still gothed out and everything. It's the best place I ever seen Alice Cooper too. But anyway, they did Floyd. They had the lasers. They had the video screen behind and all that like Floyd would. They just didn't have the flying pig or nothing. But they supposedly have an endorsement from one of the guys. I think Nick Mason. I think gave him an endorsement from Floyd. But other than that, I'm not going to pay to go see. Like we got a grunge night coming up. It's Alice in Chains. They're trying to be Alice in Chains mixed with Soundgarden, Nirvana, all that. I'm like, no. That's something I've never been a big fan of either. I mean, like I said, if you want to see the original, I mean, I wish there's bands that were on my bucket list that I'd love to see, but most of them have members that are now no longer with us, and they no longer tour. So I will never have that chance. But so I just pull out the DVD and watch it now.
And that's okay too when you have bands that don't exist anymore, and you know, like the Doors tribute band, and I can see that, you know, but when you have tribute bands out there of bands that do still exist, like there's Slipknot tribute bands, there's Motley Crue, there's Poison, there's, you know, it's just why, you know, I mean, there's like millions of Kiss tribute bands out there, and the only Kiss tribute band that I've seen that's worthwhile watching is Mr. Speed, and those guys they knocked it out of the park. I mean, if you want to see a good Kiss tribute band, Mr. Speed they do an excellent job. I mean, they're really really good what they do. But when you have these tribute bands like I said with Slipknot, I think there's even one of Alice Cooper. I think there's an Alice Cooper tribute out there. It's just why.
Yeah, those people are still touring. Go pay for the original. I mean, we can't really relive the glory days as much with that either. You know, it's and that's what I think some people that are going back to the 80s, the 70s and 80s tribute bands, and now the 90s, they're just trying to live in the past. Some of them.
Yeah.
And relive some. I mean, that's like me. Everybody's like laughs at me when I go to Louder in Life. I'm like, well, I'm trying to relive concerts I missed because I was raising kids. That's the reason I go, you know. And I see bands that you wouldn't see elsewhere in Louisville because of, unfortunately, tour restrictions for coming back to Louisville, which sucks because they've got. You play Louder in Life, you can't play within 100 miles of Louisville for 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
So Cincinnati's right at that edge, and Indianapolis right at that edge. So I mean, I have to travel to those cities to see those bands, but within what I'm paying to get into Louder in Life, I'd be paying the same thing if I just go to see some of those bands by themselves, which is crazy. I mean, concert tickets are outrageous regardless of who you go see.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's another subject.
You can credit your Spotify and all your streaming crap for that.
Yeah, I mean, I use Spotify, but
no one buys records. Everybody listens to everything online or steals it from their friends. So apparently, it's open season on any artist that produces music. Your music is pretty much, so I guess it's worth what somebody will pay for it. But for the most part, it's free.
Yeah,
it's part of the deal. If you want to get your name out there at all, you got to participate in those types of things. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm not a fan of streaming at all. So I'm a big album guy. I like to listen to full albums, and I like to have physical media in my hands. Yeah. And with every band and anybody I try to support that we've met over the years, I always try to buy physical media, and if I can, directly from the band. However, I can be most supportive to the band themselves. That's my preferred method now. That's not to say I won't listen to music. I will listen to stuff, but I like to have the album.
100%. Right behind me, to my left, is a cabinet. I mean, I'm a CD person. I've got only own one vinyl, and it's my favorite metal album of all time, and that's the Crucified's Pillars of Humanity.
Nice.
But anyways, behind me, I've got thousands of CDs behind me. And they're alphabetical order, and then and then the greatest hits is what I go by. I can't afford buying I mean, there's certain bands I'll buy the whole discography on that end. But when it comes to Christian artists, and especially bands like yourself, if I go to a show, I'm buying a shirt or a CD if I don't have it already, because I know that's how you make your money and how you survive.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know,
we try to do the same.
you know, my wife's like, "Why do you need another black shirt?" Well, these bands don't make nothing on your Spotify that you're listening to.
Right.
You know, I mean, even like I said, we use it if I can. I mean, especially if I can listen to something that's current that I can't. Like I said, I don't run, and I like you said, I'd rather give it to you and handing it to you yourself. You know, make sure it's getting to you. But it's just and it's a nature. Unfortunately, going back to the stuff that we grew up in the '80s, a lot of that's disappeared. Regardless, you know, thanks to Rocks reissuing a lot of that, but it's still, I can't afford $30, $35 for a CD, $50 for a vinyl if I was collecting vinyl.
Plus, you can't stop at just one.
No, I wouldn't be able to, I mean, I'd be broke. If I go there and bought everything I wanted off Rocks right when he did it, I'd be broke every week. So, I mean, there's always something that he's reissuing that I haven't had, or I had on cassette that I don't have, I lost. That I'd love to have on CD, but I just can't do it financially.
Yeah, right.
You know, on my end of it, I see a lot of the streaming side. If we weren't able to stream, we wouldn't be in the other countries. Death of Me was in 89 countries that we know of. And a friend of ours lives over in the Philippines. And I know if I said his name, everybody'd know him. But he promotes our music through the streaming. And people over in these other countries can't afford to buy physical CDs. So if it wasn't for streaming, the rest of the world wouldn't have it.
Right.
So
And
that's the good side of it.
that's the good part of it, yes, and I totally agree with that. And that goes back to what I was saying too. When I make a playlist, I've got 5,000 followers across every continent, which blows my mind. And it's all just grown exponentially over the last almost 10 years. And I mean, 5,000 don't seem like a lot, but it's still getting it some way, somehow out there.
Yeah, 89 countries and 25 cents.
Hey, you can't even make a phone call for that.
I don't know. I'm just being stupid.
That's why on every album we've put out, I bought multiple copies of those albums myself so that I can distribute them as I see fit. So when I run into people that say, "Hey, I'd love to hear your stuff," I say, "Cool, I got one in the car. Here, take that." So it's not so much about the money to me, I guess, as it is, you know, it's a body of work. You know,
Yeah.
So it's like I can buy the top left 6 by 6 inch corner of the Mona Lisa. How much is that going to run you? I don't know. What good is it? Who's going to recognize that without the rest of it? You know,
Right.
so I see the album as a full body of work, and then the singles are just little snippets that are supposed to pull you into the rest of it. So
Yeah, a full album is not lost on people anymore.
yeah,
Because of the singles are. We're going back to music recording earlier. Because I mean, I love. To me, I grew up on vinyl and full length albums, and they listened to them start to finish more times than I care to count. Knew every word, knew every nuance, even though I didn't play. Like I said, play an instrument. I just knew. I mean, to this day, listening to "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey. I've had that album. I had that song on 8-track when I was weed to the ground. But I can tell you, I can hear a click in that song every time I hear it because it's so ingrained in me.
yeah.
Because of listening to it over and over and over.
Yeah, I get disappointed when I'm listening to a song and then the next song that plays is not the next song from that album.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, bummer. I really like that other song. So, but yeah, it's fine. About the only time I listen to music on random is like if I'm mowing grass or something, and I know, you know, I don't want to have to stop in the middle to switch, you know, albums. So I'll have a random set of about 6 or 7 albums or something like that, and random music, and listen to music that way. But my kids want me to get Spotify, and, you know, for like family vacations and stuff, they're like, well, then you can add your own songs to the playlist and we can all mix it up. And I mean, you're going to great efforts to take that off of my phone. I don't want to put it back on there on purpose. So,
Well,
it's basically tracking software anyway. So
yeah.
Spyware.
I All right, now we know
Right,
you
Leon's
just
already
work
given
for the
me
government.
CD, so
I mean, it's true. You can laugh about it if you want, but it's fully
No, I'm
100% true.
well, any of it, any social media or conglomerate of that is they know more information we want
Willing
them to know.
victims.
I mean, but it's like going back to your phone. I've got over 6,500 songs I've downloaded from those CDs behind me.
Yep, that's
on
me
my
too.
on my phone.
Right. Yeah, the music on my phone came right off of my PC, whether it was cassettes or CDs. I still have a dual cassette deck here plugged into this PC in my office so that I can still rip cassettes to MP3s if I want to, or rip them and put them on CD and play them in a truck that's got a CD player.
And I lost all my cassettes, unfortunately, in a divorce in 2001. So
Really?
Yeah.
That's heartless.
yeah, me and her had a storage unit together, and I was paying my portion of the bill. Well, she didn't pay the bill.
I would never have to worry about that. My wife doesn't like any of the music I listen to.
Well, same here for the majority.
That's probably an exaggeration. I listen to such a variety that she's always like, "Wait, you like so much different stuff. Why can't we listen to something I like?" and I get it, especially if you're on a long drive or something. Most people don't want somebody, screaming at you for 45 minutes straight.
Right.
I like it, but not everybody's into that.
But there are
so
times
Leon, just out of curiosity,
Hmm.
what does Natalie like?
Most recently, Saturday, we were doing some work in here around the house, and she was listening to God's Property. Familiar with God's Property?
20 years ago, 30
Yeah.
years ago, 30 years ago.
That album too, Mike. So it's not any new stuff, but she likes Casting Crowns. We both like 21 Pilots. Is a favorite of mine. That's more on the
All right.
That's
acceptable
local for you guys.
listening. Yeah, Columbus ways.
Yeah.
We went to see Crowder just this past summer. Went to a show and saw them. Just a big Crowder fan, and I like Crowder as well.
I think he was on a fun show.
It was a good show. Yeah, it was a good time, fun show. A lot of interesting, almost a little interesting storytelling here and there, and getting into sort of the roots music a little bit. So it was a good show. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, unfortunately, mine is listening to Post Malone and
Oh no.
stuff like that.
Yeah, she likes country music too, which I can't hardly tolerate. So,
Well,
I like the classic stuff, but the modern country music is just.
That's not country. That's not country.
It makes me twitch.
Like contemporary country, but my niece Kayla Wagner is one of the tour managers for Post Malone, and this last weekend, my sister-in-law invited everybody to our house, and Seth Taylor, who's currently one of his touring guitarists, came over because my niece and him are dating, and it was just kind of neat to get a peek behind the curtain there. So
Interesting.
I that's no comment on whether I'm a fan of Post Malone or not, but or whether anybody else is, but
Right. But if you go to my mix, it's on this phone. It's got everything from classic country from the 1930s all the way to the 1990s country with a few 2000s thrown in, and then it's got oldie rock, classic rock, 80s, everything in the 80s from new wave to classic what we call classic rock from that era to grunge to you name it, everything is on here. I mean, you never know what's going to pop up because it's always on random. So you might hear. I mean, and a lot of it's top 40 stuff because that's what like I said. It's all greatest hits. So it's going to be somebody's hit. So, but that's what I play while I'm at work. And then, like I said, if I'm actually working, that's when I'll use Spotify to listen to full albums to get an idea of what somebody's doing and get back to the old reliable listening to an album for what an album is supposed to be.
Right.
nice.
So let's go back to albums for a minute. We'll get ready to close up because we're going on. Let's see, an hour and 10 minutes. So What is everybody? If you're on a desert island, top 3 albums that you can listen to consistently,
And that's a good question.
or you can go 5, however many you need to go that you would survive without making us sit here all night waiting for you to finish.
So I'm a big fan of The Cure. I've said this many times where I've had people say, well, who's your favorite band if you had to pick your favorite band of all time? The Cure is going to be probably in that top 5 just because of the, I don't know, just terrific songwriting. Some of it's very simplistic. Lyrics I really like, very emotional music, particularly the album Wish is probably my favorite of theirs.
Classic.
With Pearl Thompson, who just passed away recently, I think was a neat addition to that band that really turned them into something a little rawer than what they were early on. But I'm just sitting here looking down through folders of music that I have on here, and there's so much stuff. I don't know if I had to pick 5. It'd take me a week to pick 5 because I'd have to go through everything and be like, I don't want to forget about this. I don't want to forget about that. So I know we were talking. I think we might have been talking online. I'm not sure if that was you or it was, but Saint, Time's In.
Oh,
That
awesome.
that album in particular is one of my all-time favorites.
Love that era thing. Love that era.
I've owned it multiple times on cassette and multiple versions on CDs, and I can pop that album in anytime, anywhere, and listen to the whole album and love every minute of it. So never get tired of it. So I'll leave it at that. There are others, but we'll leave those.
Okay.
X?
All right, guys.
All right. Well, if I could name 3 right off the top of my head, I would say Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. I would go with Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance. And I still really like Kiss Alive a lot. That's a good live album. That's really, really good.
Is it
And of
live?
course, Kiss Alive. Yeah.
No, I said, is it live?
Well, it's Eddie Kramer said there's a few little repairs and patches here and there, but yeah, I mean, I guess it was recorded at Cobo Hall in Detroit and some other places, and they did some doctoring up. Yeah.
Well, if you listen to the Kiss Alive box set that just came out, they actually have the original recordings on another disc of that show of Kiss Alive.
Oh, yeah?
And it's a big difference. You could tell that they really went back in the studio and cleaned things up and
Yeah.
doctor up a lot of stuff in there. Yeah, it's crazy. It's what they did.
I didn't hear that, but that's what I've always heard. So that's why I was bringing it up because I've always heard that is it live or is it Memorex?
A little
Yeah,
bit
but
of
there's a lot of things
In
that
all
do
honesty,
that.
I think outside of a Grateful Dead bootleg, how honest are you getting a true reproduction of what they did that night?
Yeah. Well, it's any live album, not just that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
as it should be. I don't, I've heard lots of terrible sounding bootlegs. I've made lots of terrible sounding bootlegs.
Have you ever done one from Weapons of God, Leon?
Yes.
All
I mean,
right.
it's not anything I've released, obviously, but I've recorded live shows before. I used to turn my super recorder on, set it on top of my amp when we would play a set. Usually didn't come out very good. I don't know if that's just because we were terrible or the position wasn't good in the room. I would never want to sit on top of my amp and listen to a whole show.
That's been one of my dreams. But unfortunately, I have to go behind the kit.
Yeah, you count yourself fortunate.
And it's like, all these guys now that are recording, and it's like, here's what it looks like from my point of view.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't hear nothing.
Man, I wish I was on Leon's amp.
Yeah, but
So, I
there's
guess-
so many things that will impact a room. I mean, just from recording back in the days, band I was in before, I used to record almost every show. And it was really sometimes about finding the right spot in the room to record from so that you can at least hear everything. Otherwise, sometimes you get that camera angle on a video or that recording angle on a whatever you're recording on a microphone that happens to be, right in front of the bass amp, for example. And you hear the other stuff, but man, that bass is thumping.
Mm-hmm.
I've had recordings that were done close to a drum set where the music sounds pretty good, but the hi-hat sounds like it's about 6 feet in diameter. You know what I mean? So, and I'm kind of an audiophile that way, so I always like try to seek out the best spot. Where can you get a good spot in the room that's gonna.
Well, I've always with what I record live. I've learned where I record from is right at the soundboard. I try to get as close to the soundboard as I can.
Yeah, that's what I did a lot back in the day. I would carry the recorder back to the soundboard and set it next to there. You get a lot of house sound guys that would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's my band. I'm allowed to record it if I want to."
Right.
Do me a favor, push record on that when we start playing.
Got an extra job for you.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go next. I'd say that the 3 CD or the 3 albums would probably be Physical Graffiti from Led Zeppelin, just not only for the quality but also for the quantity. Awake from Dream Theater, and then probably Passion and Warfare from Steve Vai.
Ooh,
Ooh, really nice.
yeah.
I've seen Steve play a few years ago. Amazing.
Yeah, I missed that. I want to see him.
Yeah, he came through Louisville, and I actually won tickets for that too. And I was like, "Oh man!" So I stood in the back. There was only one song with vocals. The rest of it, you're just sitting there going, "Ah."
So turning it over to Steve.
So for me, would be the Kiss complete box set. Does that count as one? Complete box set. Warlocks, Triumph and Agony. And I'm with Ed on this one. Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. That was actually my first introduction to Iron Maiden, was that album, Peace of Mind. I know it seems kind of weird because Number of the Beast came out before that, and Run to the Hills and Number of the Beast, all those great songs came off that album. That's what put them over the top. But at the time, I wasn't really listening to Maiden because I think that was about the time and era where I became a Christian and I got baptized and saved and everything else that young. And I was trying to stray away from music like that. And then when I heard Flight of Icarus, I was like, man, that's a pretty cool song. Yeah. So that was actually my first love for Iron Maiden, was Peace of Mind.
I'll say mine. Mine would be Dark Side of the Moon. Led Zeppelin 4. Tied for third, probably either Gretchen Goes to Nebraska from King's X or Extreme, Three Sides to Every Story.
Really? Extreme's 3 side? Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising. I loved Extreme, and when Decadence,
Yeah.
was that Decadence Dance and all that? Pornography. That's the album, Pornography. When it came out, man, that album was just great all the way through. And then when 3 Sides came out the following year or two, I don't know, I was really let down about
Sandy wants to wrap it up pretty soon.
So, yeah, I don't know.
So you're saying you don't like Mike's choice?
No, I'm not saying that. That just surprises me.
Well, it was it hits a time in my life. All of it hit at different times. So 3 Sides, the story arc that this in the album. Am I ever going to change? Is means a lot to me. You know, because of the lyrical content in the song. It's just, and that was before they, I mean, even playing it as an encore, or not an encore per se, but they made a big deal out of it. But we going back to Porno Graffiti, I just wish the two people would get away from the ballads. Take away those two ballads, you still got a full album that's great.
Yeah.
So, and then I said, Dark Side's the album that I've had spent every part of my life. I mean, I can listen to it to this day, straight through, hear something new every time. So, I mean, I've had it on vinyl, I've had it on cassette, 8-track, digital, CD, Blu-ray, you name it. I've had it every format you can have it on. The only thing I haven't listened to it is an Atmos yet because I don't have any quality headphones to listen to it in that. But my brother says it's amazing.
I've got it right here on MP3.
Then on MP3, you know, but it's just, and I've heard it. I've listened to it when I was in high school. A friend of mine had a reel to reel, and we'd go to his house, and he'd have stuff on reel to reel where he'd record it to it from. We'd let him borrow a CD or a cassette or whatever. He'd record it to reel, so we got to hear it that way. But it's just that album is timeless to me. And then Zeppelin 4, I mean, going back to where we were talking about Physical Graffiti, the whole era of that of Zeppelin is just, to me, amazing. But that is my album.
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, the Three Sides thing didn't resonate because, or didn't really resonate as much because my main impression was when I first listened to it, and I got that, you know, that very first impression. And coming off of Pornography, that was kind of a hard follow-up to do. But after I listened to it again and again, it definitely started to resonate. Oh,
We have music from somewhere?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's a little bit of Physical Graffiti. Ron
Yeah.
Stomp. I can't make it stop. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, as you guys are naming albums, I'm pulling them up to see if I have them. And so far I do. I don't have the Kiss collection. I've got Alive 2 and a few others on there, but so far everything you guys have named, I do have those.
Yeah, but I've
take
never
that back.
really been like a huge Pink Floyd fan, but when I actually sat down and listened to the Division Bell, I kind of became one. Like if I just listened to it from start to finish. And that was kind of going back to what Leon said earlier. You know, you expect this flow or whatever from song to song throughout an album. And I think that's one that was very deliberate and was executed really well.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
I think the only time I've ever sat down and listened to Pink Floyd all the way through was Dark Side of the Moon. And the only reason why I did that was I wanted to hear it along with The Wizard of Oz. They kept talking about how it syncs with The Wizard of Oz. This is what you got to do to do it. And it works. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, heard, that the Dark Side of the Moon is in sync with The Wizard of Oz. It's crazy to watch. It's just weird.
So do you start the music at the very beginning?
You're
of
supposed
the
to
movie,
start
or
the music on the second roar of the line. I think it depends on what you have, I guess. You can actually go on YouTube and find it and watch it that somebody's already put together. But back then, like if you rented The Wizard of Oz on VHS, there was 2 MGM lions that roar. I don't know why, but you would start the music on the second roar of the MGM lion and just sit back and listen and watch. It's just crazy.
How about Dream Theater? They've done the whole album, Dark Side, which was amazing. Yeah, as a boot, they did it as one of their bootleg series way back when. We did that, Master of Puppets, and like And Maiden, I think they did one of the Maiden albums. I can't remember off the top of my head which one. But they played them straight through at a live and then released them as bootlegs through their own record label. So I'd love to find all those.
I think Leon's in his own world.
I was like, man, I got a lot of music.
I think we all share a love of music.
Yeah, I got a ton of it.
Same here.
That's just the stuff that's been ripped to digital, not even including the physical stuff.
Yeah, I got to do that at some point just to clean up some stuff. Right, everything. So, anyways, gentlemen and young lady, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing y'all this weekend. So, tell us where we can find you guys and everything, and if you had any last words you want to say before we close shop today.
You can go to our website, www.weaponsofgod.com. You can find us on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, the official Weapons of God YouTube channel. Facebook.
Spotify, iTunes.
Oh yeah, you can find our music on Spotify, iTunes. Yeah. You guys are looking to buy music, CDs, you can get them through roxrecords.com. Yeah.
Right on. Thanks for having us, Mike. Appreciate it.
No problem. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I know I did.
Really look forward to seeing you this weekend.
I appreciate it.
Saturday.
Yep.
See you Saturday.
Saturday,
remember,
Frankfort,
if you
Kentucky, Resurrection Fest, Kentucky. Details can be found online on my page. I've got links.
Memories Event Venue, 811 Louisville Road in Frankfort, Kentucky.
All right. It starts at 4:30. So, all right, gentlemen and young lady, y'all have a great evening. Look forward to seeing y'all this weekend.
Mike, if you don't get your
Yeah.
car
Thank
fixed,
you.
call Jason. He's going to come pick you up and bring you on.
All right.
Do it.
All right. Let's do this, guys. We'll see you soon.
Right on,
All right,
brother.
thank you,
All
Mike.
right. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.